All right. That's one of my favorite Halloween songs that I just played in there on the piano. And I'm going to talk to you about some things of a Halloween nature today. Let's talk about squeaky screen doors, creaky upstairs floors, and footprints in the yard that never fade. Dark figures in the bushes, and ghostly apparitions through the window panes. Dancing lights out in the cemetery, and whispered voices calling out your names. Now, let me say something here. All of these things, some of them apply to right here at the old home place, and others just within a few hundred yards up and down US Highway 11 here in this old area that people have lived in for well over 200-300 years. White people, before that Native Americans, of course. So squeaky screen doors. This door right here, that door. Sometimes when you're here alone, or sometimes when you have other people here, you'll hear footsteps on the porch, and you'll hear that door squeak open and close again. I'll go and open and close it for you. You can't really hear the squeak from out here, but you can hear how it sounds. Hold on. So I'll hear this. Now that just within itself is nothing, but when there's no one at the door, it's something else entirely. And creaky upstairs floors. A lot of times, you'll be here, and you might be in bed, or you might be doing various things downstairs, and you'll distinctly hear footsteps right above your head. Someone walking or pacing in a room, various rooms, or the old long hallway upstairs. And also sometimes you'll hear the stairs themselves. You'll hear footsteps on the top, the upper stairs, maybe the first three. They have distinctive sounds. And I've heard that many times. I chalk that up to my grandmother Lizzie, that my mother said she had seen, and I have seen, on the stairs, up at the top, with a bucket and scrub brush, cleaning. In fact, I clean those stairs today. Footprints in the yard that never fade. I know of two such incidents. One is right here in the yard of the old home place. There are a set of footprints out between here and the highway, beside the driveway, that have been here for well over 30-40 years. My mother found them at first and told me she thought someone was watching the house from the bushes. But it continued. The footsteps never fade. Seasonally, you can see them in the grass. In the fall and winter, you can see them in those dry bone leaves. You can see two prints, clear as day. I have posted photos of those, and I've done a video, a short story about the footprints. But they're always there, and they always have been, that I can recall. And down the road, not too far, is another old home site, where there are also footprints beneath a huge old oak tree. That the tree has fallen, but they kept the stump because the tree was so large, and they keep flower pots and things of that nature on it. But those footprints never fade either. I heard that story from one of the owners of the house, and then I saw them for myself on occasion when I was down there. Dark figures in the bushes. there's a house up the highway here past the intersection, um, where the families that live there, the last ones especially, kept talking about seeing a dark figure watching the house from the bushes along the fence line. And it disturbed the lady of the house, so she had her husband to cut back those bushes. And she still saw the figure. They still saw the figure just behind where he had cut in the tree line. A dark figure that would, you could be seen at various times of the day in different seasons, not always in the same place, but within a few feet, you know. And so, dark figures in the bushes. Ghostly apparitions through a window pane. Now, here's a story for you. Up the highway north on US 11 is the site of an old home that burned probably when I was in my teens. And when you looked at the house, it was a 2-story house with a deep front porch that was across the front of the house. And above that were 4 large windows. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the right-hand window, if you were on the highway looking at the house, you could clearly see the outline of a woman. You could see her hair. You could see the collar of an old-fashioned dress, and her neck and shoulders down to about her midsection in the window. And she was obviously dressed in white. And she was very visible. One time we tried to get a photograph of it. It didn't work. And the people who lived there wouldn't talk about it. They said they didn't want to know what it was. And they didn't use that particular room either. Dancing lights in the cemetery. One house over from here is the old Bethany Cemetery. And in the back of the cemetery, up on a hill where there used to be some beautiful cedar trees, but the cedars have fallen over the years and some were damaged in storms. So there are less of them for sure, but there are still a couple, I believe, remaining. And I'm talking big cedar trees. Right around the area where the cedar trees were, there were 3 or 4 really large ones. If you went up there in the early evening and sat down somewhere and were really still, you would see orbs of light come up from the ground and move through those trees and around. And then they would not fade, they simply would vanish. So you would be seeing them. There might be 5 or 6 at a time, sometimes only 1 or 2. But they would flit around, not moving very quickly, just moving, and then they would disappear. So I've seen that for myself, and other people have too. And whispered voices calling your name. Can't tell you how many times I've been here alone, and I'll hear someone go, Gloria, Gloria, distinctly, very clearly. And one time I even got it on a digital recorder. That was probably 20 years ago. And I think I saved the file on one of my earlier computers, but I was in the den, which is where the big fireplace is, where I built my first fire today for the season, after cleaning it, just to check it out. And I was working with the fire, and I had my back to the hallway door. I had no TV on, no radio, nothing. And I started hearing distant, what sounded like, and then it became more and more audible. And then it sounded like it was right outside the doorway in the hall. And it distinctly went, Gloria, Gloria. And I turned around and I looked, and then I said, who's there? But no one said a word. That night, I remember I locked the doors to my room that night. I felt a little creeped out after that. But there have been a lot of incidents here. A lot of incidents, like I said, up and down the highway in various older homes, and even on the sites of older homes where they build new ones, of course. So one has to wonder how many of you have experienced anything like that. I don't know. I'm sure quite a few of you have. And I just thought I'd talk about that today. I hope you enjoyed my song. Not my song. I wish I had written it. Season of the Witch. And I hope you have a great rest of the weekend.